Rain Brown iz naroda aljaske divljine osuđena je najmlađa i nekoć najperspektivnija članica obitelji Brown, sada se suočava s teškim posljedicama kaznenog slučaja koji je šokirao dugogodišnje obožavatelje i sljedbenike. Uhićena zajedno sa suprugom zbog provale zlonamjernog nereda i nezakonitog ulaska na posjed, Rainin pad naveo je mnoge da se pitaju što je pošlo tako strašno po zlu. Iza kulisa njezin je život krenuo mračnijim putem mnogo prije nego što su se naslovi pojavili. Sada, nakon što je presuda konačno izrečena, ostaju bolna pitanja. Kako se Rain Brownin svijet tako brzo srušio, koje je bitke vodila u tišini, i nakon svega što je izgubila, postoji li još uvijek put natrag za nju ili je ovo zaista kraj? Uhićenje Rain Brown šokira naciju. Što se dogodilo dana 11. travnja 2025. Rain Brown, najmlađa kći poznate aljaške obitelji Bush, uhićena je zajedno sa svojim suprugom Josiahom Lortonom u okrugu Okanogan u Washingtonu. Optužbe su bile ozbiljne provala prvog stupnja i zlonamjerno nanošenje štete prvog stupnja, oba kaznena djela. Osim toga, Rain se suočila s odvojenom optužbom za kazneni upad drugog stupnja, što je težak prekršaj. Prema policijskim izvješćima, Rain i Josiah optuženi su za nezakonit ulazak na privatni posjed bez dopuštenja i nanošenje značajne materijalne štete. Iako specifični detalji incidenta poput identiteta vlasnika imovine, opsega štete ili što se točno dogodilo unutar rezidencije nisu javno objavljeni izvori iz policije, potvrdili su da su optužbe utemeljene na dokazima prikupljenim na mjestu događaja i iskazima svjedoka. Uhićenje je izazvalo šok u svijetu reality TV-a. Godinama je Rain prikazivana kao nevino prizemljeno dijete robusne obitelji Brown koje preživljava izvan mreže u teškim uvjetima. Vidjeti je u lisicama suočenu s ozbiljnim optužbama za kaznena djela bio je zapanjujući preokret za obožavatelje koji su je gledali kako odrasta na nacionalnoj televiziji. Nakon što su odvedeni u okružni zatvor, Rain i Josiah proveli su 3 dana u pritvoru. Dana 14. travnja 2025. Oboje su pušteni bez plaćanja jamčevine, odluka koja je izazvala čuđenje. Neki su nagađali da njihovo puštanje na slobodu ukazuje na to da bi optužbe mogle biti manje ozbiljne nego što se u početku strahovalo, dok su drugi tvrdili da to odražava njihovu čistu prethodnu evidenciju. Unatoč tome, naloženo im je da se pojave na budućem ročištu kako bi se formalno suočili s optužbama. Reakcija javnosti bila je brza i podijeljena. Dok su neki obožavatelji pojurili u Raininu obranu izražavajući nevjericu da bi mogla biti umiješana u bilo kakav zločin, drugi su primijetili da njezino sve nepredvidljivije javno ponašanje u posljednjih nekoliko godina nagovještava dublje osobne borbe. Ovaj uznemirujući incident označio je dramatičan i vrlo javan pad Rain Brown, gurajući njezine nekoć privatne bitke u puni sjaj medijske pozornosti. For weeks there had been little official news about her case, only rumors and speculations swirling among fans. But just 2 minutes ago, everything changed. Breaking updates have surfaced, and they confirm the situation has taken a dramatic and heartbreaking new turn. What exactly happened next would leave fans around the world stunned and raise even more painful questions about where Rain Brown's life is truly headed. Rain's shocking arrest is only the beginning of a much deeper story, a story shaped by years of hidden emotional battles that few ever truly understood. A long battle with mental health. Long before her arrest, troubling signs had already begun to surface in Rain Brown's life. Beneath the smiling face, viewers knew from Alaskan Bush People, Rain was quietly battling serious mental health struggles that only worsened with time. As the youngest member of the Brown family, Rain faced enormous pressure from a young age. She grew up isolated from the outside world, living in extreme conditions for the reality cameras. While this lifestyle appeared adventurous and exciting to viewers behind the scenes, it came at a steep emotional cost in 2018 at just petnest years old, Rain bravely opened up to her followers, admitting she was struggling with deep depression. She revealed she had entered therapy seeking help to deal with overwhelming feelings of sadness, loneliness, and confusion about her place in the world. On Instagram, Rain's posts turned increasingly emotional and cryptic, sometimes referencing feeling lost or misunderstood. Fans grew concerned as she spoke about her internal battles, even referring to herself at one point as a lost soul. At times, Rain would disappear from social media for weeks or even months, without explanation, fueling speculation about her mental well-being. Insiders close to the family later shared that Rain experienced recurring episodes of depression exacerbated by the growing responsibilities she faced while still trying to find her footing as a young adult. Living between two worlds, the harsh demands of off-grid survival and the expectations of reality TV fame left her emotionally fractured and often isolated from traditional support systems like school friends, counselors, and mentors. Rain tried to mask her pain through art, poetry, and positive affirmations on her social media, but beneath her inspirational posts, darker messages would sometimes slip through. In one post, she spoke about wearing a smile as armor, hinting at the tremendous emotional burden she carried behind closed doors. Mental health battles are rarely simple, and for many who have followed Rain's journey closely, it is believed that her long years of internal struggle may have eroded her ability to make sound decisions or seek help when she needed it most. Some observers feel that her silent suffering played a devastating role in the series of poor choices that ultimately led to her arrest. Ono što se outsiderima činilo kao iznenadni pad u očima mnogih, moglo je biti tragičan ishod godina neriješene boli koja se tiho nakupljala ispod površine. I kako su se njezine emocionalne borbe produbljivale, Rain se suočila s novim prekretnicama koje će je gurnuti još dalje putem kojim više nije mogla kontrolirati. U veljači 2021. Rain Brown pretrpjela je razoran udarac koji će zauvijek promijeniti tijek njezina života. Njezin otac Billy Brown, voljeni patrijarh obitelji Aljaškog Busha, iznenada je preminuo u dobi od 68 godina nakon što je doživio smrtonosni napadaj na obiteljskom ranču North Star u Washingtonu. Billy nije bio samo Rainin otac, on je bio njezina stijena, njezin moralni kompas i njezin emocionalni temelj. Tijekom cijelog života, Rain je otvoreno opisivala svog oca kao svog heroja i najboljeg prijatelja, nekoga tko ju je vodio kroz jedinstvene izazove odrastanja, izolirane od modernog svijeta. Njegova smrt ostavila je veliku prazninu u obitelji Brown, ali za Rain je to bila katastrofa koja joj je promijenila život. U tjednima nakon njegove smrti, Rainina tuga bila je bolno vidljiva. Objavljivala je srce parajuće poruke na Instagramu, priznajući svojim pratiteljima da se osjeća potpuno izgubljeno bez njega. U jednoj emotivnoj objavi napisala je: "Više ne znam tko sam bez tebe." Podijelila je fotografije zalazaka sunca i prizora iz divljine, koristeći ih kao metafore za gubitak, usamljenost i potragu za smislom u svijetu koji joj se odjednom činio nepoznatim i nesigurnim. Obožavatelji su brzo primijetili veliku promjenu u njezinom ponašanju. Rain se povukla iz središta pozornosti, ograničila je svoje pojavljivanje u obiteljskom reality showu i uzimala duge pauze od društvenih mreža. Nekada energična i živahna osoba postala je ozbiljna i povučena. Izvori bliski obitelji kasnije su potvrdili da se Rain borila s valovima duboke depresije, pokušavajući pronaći razlog za napredak nakon gubitka muškarca koji ju je oduvijek emocionalno podržavao. Billyjeva smrt poremetila je i cijelu obiteljsku dinamiku. Kao vođa i donositelj odluka, Billy je održavao obitelj ujedinjenom kroz bezbrojne teškoće. Bez njega napetosti između braće i sestara postajale su vidljivije, a nekoć čvrsta slika obitelji počela se raspadati. Za Rain, koja se već suočavala s osobnim emocionalnim bitkama kolaps obiteljske podrške, učinio je njezinu situaciju još nesigurnijom ostavljajući je samu u trenutku kada joj je stabilnost najviše bila potrebna. Mnogi koji su pratili Rainino putovanje vjeruju da je Billyjeva smrt izazvala razoran domino efekt u njezinom životu. Bez njegovog vodstva i zaštite, Rain je postala osjetljivija na nezdrave utjecaje, loše izbore i emocionalnu nestabilnost. Borila se s postavljanjem granica, razlikovanjem pravih prijatelja od oportunista i pronalaženjem vlastitog identiteta izvan pažljivo oblikovane javne slike obitelji. Te ranjivosti, ako se ne kontroliraju na kraju, će je odvesti u opasan teritorij, što je kulminiralo pravnim problemima koji sada dominiraju naslovnicama. Ono što je Raininu tugu učinilo još težom za podnijeti bila je javna priroda njezine žalosti. Tugovanje u privatnosti je dovoljno teško, ali za Rain je svaki njezin potez bio pod drobnogledom obožavatelja i kritičara. Svaka zagonetna objava, svaka odsutnost, svaki emocionalni ispad bio je analiziran i osuđivan, zbog čega se osjećala još izloženijom, izoliranijom i neshvaćenijom. Mnogi vjeruju da ju je ta izolacija gurnula dalje putem očajničkih odluka i izgubljenog povjerenja, još uvijek se boreći s neodoljivom tugom i tražeći nešto ili nekoga za koga bi se mogla uhvatiti. Rain se ubrzo okrenula jednom od rijetkih mjesta za koja je mislila da može pronaći utjehu novoj vezi, koja će na kraju postati jedna od najkontroverznijih i presudnih odluka u njezinu životu. Rainin brak pod mikroskopom. Nakon Billyjeve Brownove smrti, Rain Brown očajnički je tražila stabilnost, društvo i emocionalno utočište. Izolirana od većeg dijela svoje obitelji, preplavljena tugom i boreći se s vlastitim bitkama za mentalno zdravlje, pronašla je utjehu u vezi koja je brzo postala ozbiljna svojoj vezi s Josiahom Lortonom. Vrlo malo se javno zna o Josiahu Lortonu. Nije slavna osoba preživljavač ili televizijska osoba. Za razliku od robusne slike koju mnogi obožavatelji povezuju s Brownsima, Josiahova pozadina ostaje uglavnom privatna, što daje povoda za mnoga nagađanja. Ono što je jasno jest da je Josiah postao središnja figura u Raininom životu u vrijeme kada je bila najranjivija razdoblje obilježeno emocionalnim previranjima, narušenim obiteljskim vezama i javnom kontrolom. Veza Rain i Josiaha razvijala se uglavnom daleko od kamera. Za razliku od ranijih razdoblja svog života, Rain je odlučila mnoge detalje o svom braku zadržati u tajnosti. Rijetko je objavljivala o Josiahu, a kad bi i to učinila, kratki su i suzdržani pogledi. Neki su obožavatelji tu privatnost protumačili kao znak prave ljubavi Rain koja štiti nešto sveto. Drugi su međutim izrazili zabrinuti da Rainina izolacija i neriješena trauma čine je podložnom nezdravim vezanostima. Godine 2024. Rain je potvrdila da se tiho udala za Josiaha Lortona. Objava je iznenadila čak i dugogodišnje obožavatelje. Zanimljivo je da nitko od Rainine braće i sestara nije prisustvovao vjenčanju, što je otkriće koje je pokrenulo ozbiljna pitanja o unutarnjim podjelama u obitelji. Rain's marriage seemed to symbolize a larger shift, a young woman breaking away from her family's traditions and expectations, seeking independence, but perhaps doing so from a place of deep emotional pain rather than empowerment. Those close to the situation later described Rain and Josiah's lifestyle as hand-to-mouth living a rugged survivalist life, but without the financial and production support that Alaskan Bush People once provided. The couple reportedly struggled with money, frequently moving between temporary residences and relying on odd jobs to get by. Insiders hinted that financial strain combined with Rain's lingering emotional fragility created a tense and unstable environment. When Rain and Josiah were arrested in April 2025 for burglary, malicious mischief, and trespassing. Many observers immediately drew a connection between Rain's personal struggles, the pressures of her new marriage, and the decisions that led to her downfall. To some, Rain's bond with Josiah seemed like a lifeline in her darkest moments. But over time, it may have evolved into another source of instability, rather than the solid foundation she so desperately needed. Now, with the shocking recent developments surrounding Rain's legal case, questions about her relationship with Josiah have only intensified. Was he a partner who provided love and support during her hardest years, or did their bond, forged in grief and desperation, ultimately accelerate Rain's spiral into crisis? In the wake of her arrest, Rain Brown finally broke her silence and pointed fingers not at strangers, but at someone she once trusted deeply, her former manager. Rain's public response would ignite even more controversy. After spending 3 days in jail following her arrest in April 2025, Rain Brown was released without bail. But before her next scheduled court appearance, she finally decided to break her silence, and her message shocked everyone. Rather than apologizing or explaining the charges against her, Rain took to Instagram to accuse a former manager of betrayal, theft, and false accusations. In a heartfelt and emotional post, Rain claimed that a former manager, someone she had once trusted with her career and finances, had not only stolen from her, but was now orchestrating her downfall by falsely accusing her of crimes she insists she did not commit. Rain wrote, "She continued pleading with her followers to wait for her side of the story. It deeply hurts my heart. With all this said, I hope y'all will stick around to hear my side of the story. God bless y'all." Rain also posted a powerful Bible verse alongside her statement to drive home her plea for understanding and fairness. Through her words, Rain made it clear that she believed the legal nightmare she now faced was not the result of her own wrongdoing, but a calculated attack by someone who had already harmed her deeply in the past. She painted a picture of betrayal, theft, and emotional abuse, and portrayed herself as a young woman wronged yet again by those she had trusted during her most vulnerable years. Fans' reactions were sharply divided. Some rushed to Rain's defense, arguing that she had been naive and exploited at a young age, especially following the emotional collapse she suffered after her father's death. They sympathized with her claims, believing she had been targeted by a manipulative former associate who knew how fragile she was. Others, however, viewed Rain's statement with skepticism. Some questioned whether blaming her manager was an attempt to deflect responsibility away from her own actions. They pointed out that legal charges are not filed lightly and wondered whether Rain was trying to shift public opinion ahead of her court date. Regardless of where fans stood, one thing was certain. Rain Brown's Instagram outburst turned her quiet legal trouble into a full-blown public battle for her reputation. No longer was the focus just on the burglary charges. It had expanded into a deeper story of betrayal, manipulation, and emotional collapse. But Rain's accusations against her former manager were only part of the story. As attention intensified, troubling details began surfacing from inside her own family, exposing cracks, conflicts, and betrayals that had been hidden for far too long. As Rain Brown battled legal troubles and accusations from her former manager, another painful rift was brewing much closer to home within her own family. Long before her 2025 arrest, signs of deep fractures between Rain and her siblings had already begun to emerge, revealing a side of the Brown family that fans rarely saw on television. In August 2025, Rain's brother Noah Brown and his wife Rain filed a petition for order of protection against her in Okanagan County Court. The allegations were deeply disturbing and painted a picture of a family relationship in serious disrepair. According to court documents, Noah accused Rain of stalking, harassment, and substance abuse, claiming that her behavior had escalated to the point where it threatened the safety of his family, particularly his two young sons, Elijah and Adam. Among the specific accusations, Noah alleged that Rain had a pattern of malicious and intentional threats, and stated there was a threat of violence, including the presence of a firearm or weapon causing substantial emotional distress. Even more alarming, Noah claimed that Rain had been using cocaine and meth and consuming alcohol, and alleged that she had once offered cocaine to their mother Amy Brown during a December 2020 tri-visit. Two particularly chilling incidents were cited in Noah's petition. In one episode during the filming of Alaskan Bush People in July 2022, Noah recalled being in an elevator with Rain when she allegedly said, "My life would be so much easier if you were dead. If only I wouldn't get caught. I think that my gun is in my room." In another incident in May 2023, Rain reportedly became agitated while attempting to transport a malnourished horse. Noah claimed that Rain snapped at him, yelling, "Just stop. We don't need your help. I would rather the horse die than listen to you. I will take its life myself. Now go wait in your truck or I will get my gun right now." The horse reportedly died the following day. Citing these incidents as evidence of escalating threats and instability, Noah's petition sought to prohibit Rain from contacting his family and demanded that she surrender all firearms, including 2 handguns, semi-automatic rifles and shotguns. However, despite the alarming claims, the court denied the temporary restraining order. The judge cited a lack of immediate evidence and procedural issues, noting that the incidents described were either too remote in time or insufficiently documented to warrant emergency protection. In response to the filing, Rain did not remain silent. She took to Instagram, venting her frustration over what she saw as the unrealistic and judgmental expectations placed on her, both by the public and possibly by her own family. Rain criticized the idea that people preferred a polished, sanitized version of her rather than accepting her real, imperfect self. She wrote, "Rather than apologizing or acknowledging any wrongdoing, Rain's post struck a tone of defiance and resentment. She made it clear she would not conform to anyone's expectations of what she should be." Rain even hinted that there was more to the situation than outsiders knew, suggesting that her side of the story had yet to be told. She teased a future reveal, writing, "If that sentence offended you and you asked yourself, what happened to her? Keep asking that question. Maybe one day I'll write a book." For many, these resurfaced allegations from Rain's brother began to lend more credence to the recent burglary charges she was now facing. Her past was no longer seen through the lens of youthful rebellion or family misunderstandings. It was now framed as a pattern of increasingly unstable and reckless behavior. Also, doubts began growing around Rain's Instagram post, where she had blamed a former manager for setting her up. While some loyal supporters clung to her version of events, a growing number of fans and observers questioned whether Rain might indeed have been capable of committing the crimes she had been charged with. As one fan bluntly commented, "If Rain really did all the things her brother accused her of, then she's no longer the sweet, bright light we saw on TV. She's no saint. All of this just screams guilty." Another wrote, "And just when it seemed Rain's situation couldn't get any worse, breaking news confirmed that her fate was sealed and the consequences were even more devastating than fans had feared." After months of speculation, emotional breakdowns and mounting public scrutiny, the news many fans feared has finally broken. Rain Brown's case has reached a shocking turning point. In the immediate aftermath of her April 2022 arrest, Rain was released without bail and ordered to await her next court appearance. For weeks, the public heard very little, only silence, cryptic social media posts, and swirling speculation about how the legal proceedings would unfold. Some believed Rain might fight the charges. Others assumed a quiet settlement was underway behind the scenes. But now, breaking updates have confirmed that Rain Brown has officially been sentenced in connection to the burglary and malicious mischief charges. While exact court documents have yet to be fully disclosed to the public, insiders familiar with the proceedings have indicated that Rain's case did not end favorably for her. Reports suggest that Rain either entered a guilty plea or accepted a negotiated deal with prosecutors, leading to a finalized judgment against her. Though full details, such as the specific penalties, probation terms, or possible jail time remain under court seal for now, what is clear is that Rain's legal saga has come to a definitive and devastating end. The shocking confirmation sent shockwaves through the Alaskan Bush People fan community. Many longtime viewers who had once rooted for Rain as the bright light of the Brown family found themselves grappling with heartbreak, disappointment, and sadness over how far she had fallen. Public reaction has been sharply divided. Some fans continue to defend Rain, insisting that emotional instability, grief, betrayal by those she trusted, and years of public pressure played a huge role in her poor decisions. Others, however, now view Rain's arrest court case and sentencing as the tragic but inevitable result of years of escalating instability, a slow-motion collapse that had been visible long before the actual charges were filed. To them, Rain's guilty plea or conviction is not a miscarriage of justice, but a painful confirmation that her life had veered into dangerous territory long ago. Now, with a sentence finalized and her reputation in tatters, Rain Brown faces an uncertain and lonely road ahead. Her once bright future has been clouded by a series of devastating choices, betrayals, and emotional breakdowns that have left her forever changed in the public eye. As the dust settles and Rain's sentencing becomes a grim reality, one heartbreaking question remains. What happens now? Is there any future left for Rain Brown? Or is this truly goodbye forever? Goodbye forever. What the future holds for Rain Brown after the verdict.
Sada kada je kazna Rain Brown pravomoćno izrečena, njezina budućnost ostaje neizvjesna. Na temelju dostupnih izvješća mogla bi se suočiti sa zatvorskom kaznom ovisno o konačnim sudskim dokumentima. Bez obzira na konkretne kazne, pravni ishod je ozbiljno narušio njezin ugled.
Vrlo je malo vjerojatno da će Rain nastaviti bilo kakvu suradnju s ljudima iz Aljaške divljine ili se vratiti na televiziju u bilo kojem svojstvu. Javno povjerenje je narušeno, a brendovi i mreže obično izbjegavaju osobe s kriminalnim dosjeom, posebno kada su u pitanju ozbiljne optužbe poput provale. U ovom trenutku očekuje se da će se Rain usredotočiti na svoj osobni život daleko od reflektora.
Oporavak, obnova i izbjegavanje daljnjih pravnih problema vjerojatno će biti njezini neposredni prioriteti. Hoće li se na kraju vratiti u javni život, ostaje neizvjesno. Zasad je priča o Rain Brown dosegla definitivnu i vrlo javnu najnižu točku.
Što mislite o Raininoj rečenici? Slobodno podijelite svoja razmišljanja u odjeljku za komentare. Hvala na gledanju i vidimo se u sljedećem videu.